Hi guys, welcome back. This is Matt Chat episode 241, featuring the third and final installment of my interview with Chuckles, that is Chuck Boucher. This part of the interview we talk about the game he's least proud of, 2400 AD, a few other games, then we talk about his work designing video game installations for amusement parks. Really cool stuff. I know you guys will enjoy that. And then we also get his thoughts on Oculus Rift and the future of the video games industry. So a lot of great stuff in this episode. So without further ado, here is Mr. Chuck Boucher. 2400 AD, a 1987 top-down role-playing game. What was going on behind the scenes with the creation of this game?
I was trying to go more with the role-playing there, and that's what I came up with.
That's the only game that you signed Chuck instead of Chuckles, right?
Yes, it is. I did go with Chuck Boucher for that one. And I guess I was trying to grow up. When would that have been? Now we're moving to 87. I was a whole 27 years old.
Time to take life more seriously.
I think I'd moved beyond Chuckles, but so that's all that was about.
Now, did that game use an enhanced version of the Ultima 4 engine?
No. It was all my own. It was all from scratch.
And then John Romero did the C64 port?
I think he did. There were several ports. There were some ports started and abandoned, I think. But I think we released Commodore 64 and John Romero did it. And I think we released IBM PC and some trivia. I believe that James Van Artstalen programmed that. He later was involved with Dell and eventually retired a very wealthy man after getting out of computer games and doing engineering for Dell Computer.
So that's the game. It came with 3 LED figures and a fold-out map, correct?
Yes, it did.
So it sounds like everything was in place for this game to be a big hit, but I guess the sales weren't what anybody desired. What happened there? What
do I say? Well, people didn't like it. It was I didn't turn out a game that people liked. I guess it was too. If I had to think back, formulaic. The Ultimas were always very free form. I mean, how do I answer that? Why didn't it sell as well as Ultima? It wasn't as good. People didn't like it.
Well, looking back on it, would you have made different decisions?
Honestly, the honest to God truth is that I've been doing this a long time, and I'm still making entertainment products. But there are better designers than I am. I'm a really good implementer, a really good technician, really creative on how to solve the technical problems. And I can design games, but there are people that are far better at it than I am, and I'm far happier working with the top-notch designers who don't care to make the games. And then together we turn out some pretty kick-ass stuff.
What about 1989, a game called Omega? Somebody wrote in asking about this, and what was your relationship to that game?
Omega, I believe I did 89. That was programmed by now still a friend of mine, Stuart Marks, and he was working with us. We got to know Stu. He was working at the computer store at the Dobie Mall, I believe, at University of Texas before we started Origin. And we'd stayed in touch. He did that. That was kind of a tragedy. It was a really cool game. It was a Robot Wars kind of program your own robots and let them go into arena play. My work on that, I started to do the port, and I don't know how far I got through. I think I was porting it to probably Commodore 64 by then, because the Atari, way back when we would roll out the Atari ports first, and then the numbers were such that as the years went on, the numbers got better for the Commodore. But I think going by the timing, I abandoned that because I had decided I wanted to finish my bachelor's degree before I turned 30. And so I kind of dropped out of work to go back to school at, well, it would have been 29, I think. I graduated May of 1990 and turned 30 in September. So yeah, I had to tell Stu, hey, look, here's everything that I have, but I can't finish this because I'm going back to school. I don't even know if I'm credited on that.
I saw on Moby Games you're credited as terminal interface, I think.
Okay, yeah. So I did parts of it.
So you're still doing work with Craniac Entertainment, the old company, right?
Craniac Entertainment is alive and well. So yeah, the 80s, that was the heyday with the Apple, with the 8-bit computers. The 90s, I actually continued to do some work, had a couple staff positions. I actually did contract work on Wing Commander.
Really?
But yes, I did.
What part did you do?
Very little. I was doing graphics, some of the high-performance graphics primitives for Wing Commander.
That's really saying something.
Well, a lot of it was already done. Chris knew what he wanted to do, and so I was there. I'm happy to. Yes, it's good. I can say that my code is in there.
You keeping up with this new Kickstarter project?
I was thinking about it the other day that I haven't looked. I get the press releases about Shroud of the Avatar from Richard. I don't know what approach Chris is taking with the PR marketing. So I haven't had, nothing has dropped onto my desk, but I was thinking, I need to take a look and see where that is these days. I saw him when he was launching the Kickstarter, what was it, a year and a half ago? Or
something like that.
Give or take. But yeah, so I did some work with Velocity here in San Francisco in the mid-90s. They had the first, as far as I'm aware, the first land-based home game. Zatrix, I did some work with in LA. One of their big ones was Redneck Rampage. So very well.
Yeah, who doesn't like that game?
Or what's that?
So who doesn't like that game?
Exactly. Like I helped. That was just as I was leaving. Helped do them with some original technology, laying out the technologies that we were going to use, and then I ended up with my first. Lately, I have been for the last 10 or 15 years doing more location-based gaming. And so I left Zatrix and worked with them to do a project for Sega GameWorks, which I think is still in business. We did, but basically location-based games, which is my real passion. I love that stuff because I get to combine making the games and the hands-on engineering aspects. Mm-hmm. And so lately I've got several projects, attractions that I did the software for at Epcot, and the software for the centerpiece, the Kid Space for Disney's two brand new cruise ships, the Dream and the Fantasy.
Wow.
So that's all as Craniac Entertainment.
Now, somebody had written in to ask about the Terminator 2 3D installation.
That was a lot of fun. That was the second theme park location-based job that I got. And fascinating experience. I lived in Osaka, Japan for 6 months.
You speak Japanese?
I do not. But I picked up, you pick up half a dozen words. I did learn quickly two things, at least in Osaka, where often it's hazy and the subways and the street layouts are crazy. Carry a compass, because that way you can pop out of the subway and always know where you're going. And read and write the kanji numbers, because it was very easy to find one restaurant, a $5 noodle place next to a $200 plate fixed price menu restaurant.
Wow.
And so as long and the numbers more often than not they're not Arabic numerals, they're kanji. So I did get to learn, I did learn that. That's easy. But the Terminator 2, my job there was as the controls engineer, and I was supervising a half dozen vendors, testing and adjusting 20 different special effects for the Terminator 2 3D attraction in Osaka. Fascinating work. I'd love to do more of that. And not any programming at all. Got to more engineering and safety analysis.
Yeah, I could see why you would prefer something like that. It seems a little more tactile and hands-on than just straight-up games programming, right?
Yep. And that's definitely where I'm happier. So actually, I worked with some of those guys later on a project. I think it's on my project list online. We were building a large device which was supposed to take pre-constructed houses and move them around. But I think that got canceled.
I was going to ask,
controls engineering.
Yeah, what you're planning to do, or what you're working on now, or what your plans are for the future. I don't suppose we can look for that auto dual Kickstarter project anytime.
Well, no, and that reminds me of the whole bit about. I still wonder. I wonder about Auto Assault, and it kind of breaks my heart that just didn't go much of anywhere. I didn't play it, so maybe there's some comment, some circular reasoning there. But if there was ever going to be an auto duel online, that should have fit the bill. But actually, I think I was reading that it was just and this goes back to the reality versus ease of play comment, that it was just too hard to play. And so I'd be very careful before I try to do something like that. I mean, an auto duel, like a car battle